integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Core values that Tony Duno, the longest-serving civilian in Air Force history, has lived his entire life. And after a successful 70-year career that helped shape an entire continent, Tony is finally ready to walk away.
I certainly will deeply miss all of the activities that I've gone through from A to Z. It's been a great pleasure for me to make a contribution to this organization, and I will really, really miss it.
Duno's civilian career began in 1947, just a couple years after honorably serving during and immediately following World War II. 20 years later, in 1967, Tony found his true calling with the Air Force in Europe's Real Estate Division and embarked on a 50-year journey that oversaw the sale of excess property back to local European governments. A career decision that would have a profound impact on Europe's real estate market while leading to over $1 billion in residual values for the United States Air Force.
There isn't a country in Europe that he hasn't touched in a meaningful way. There's not probably an ambassador that he hasn't spoken to about real property initiatives and ideas, all in support of USAFE and the United States Air Force.
I think ultimately Tony is going to go down in history, especially in the Air Force civil engineering world, as the ultimate real property officer. His abilities to negotiate, to get property and money back for the United States. He's the lead residual value negotiator right now. Anything he goes out, he brings back gold.
Tony was amazing in what he did, and he had a really difficult job because he was going to host nations where the United States had been there for many, many years, and the United States pulled out for various reasons, and he was going back to those host nations and asking them for money. And he did it through deliberate negotiations. He built relationships over time, and he was able to bring tens of millions of dollars back to support airmen and their families throughout Europe.
Going out and negotiating with different allies and coming back, bringing home residual values, and then putting that money to use for the troops is something that he's seen as a personal mission.
I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of people closely in my 20 years in the Air Force. And one, I never met anybody who had a greater love for their country than Tony did. But secondly, I would say just a work ethic that frankly you don't see very often anymore.
He was always motivated by a sense of purpose. He always had that sense of duty. I think he was born with it.
Everything revolves around the United States and the flag for Tony. He is doing everything he can today and in the past to make sure that he gets the best deal for the United States.
Duno's American patriotism was forged through the life and death challenges of our Great Depression and World War II. Life-changing experiences that helped fortify his tough, don't-give-a-penny negotiating style with foreign governments.
And he'd bring back these great, big, huge checks, and he'd be able to present them to either the civil engineer or the USAFE commander. And that was just a huge testament to Tony and what he did. He didn't do it for himself. He didn't do it for the glory. He did it to help out the airmen.
He is an icon in the real estate service side of things. He's a remarkable staff officer who can work through the offices of all the member nations of NATO. So he's very, very competent.
Tony Duno's dedication to our nation and the United States Air Force has lasted over 7 decades, and his wealth of experience will most certainly be missed. Although he retires on November 1st, he will leave a lasting legacy of honor, duty, and commitment to excellence for future generations of Air Force civil engineers.
I believe his legacy will be his patience, what he's taught multiple generations of folks and young officers and civilian on how to go forward into the world, how to be patient, and how to love your country.
You know, Tony has kind of he says a joke every now and then, you know, when people talk about retiring after 40 years or someone else retiring after that many years, and Tony will just kind of smile and just goes, they're still babies. They still have a long ways to go.